allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Accipiter?
Here.
Mr. Yotzi?
Here.
Dr. Fike?
Here.
Mr. Frund?
Here.
Mrs. Geyer?
Here.
Mr. Grabiak?
Here.
Mrs. O'Rear is absent. Mr. Olson?
Here.
Mr. Shipley?
Mrs. O'Rear notified me earlier that she would be absent today. We held the following executive sessions: June 24th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m., August 19th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Citizens' comments on agenda items only. Do we have any? No. Okay. Moving on.
Okay, our next section is reports.
Superintendent information.
Thank you, Mr. Front. I have a couple things for tonight. First and foremost, before I get going, I wanted to thank the custodial staff, food services staff, teaching staff, paraprofessionals, administrative staff, maintenance staff, everybody we have. We have students coming tomorrow. We have more students coming on Thursday. I had a great day today speaking with everybody, welcoming everybody in. Everybody seemed excited. Everybody seemed ready to go. People were excited to see turf being moved off of the football stadium. It's an exciting time right now. I just wanted to thank everybody for all the hard work this summer. Everybody thinks that summertime in a school district means that nothing happens. And those of you who are not in education wouldn't know it until you did it. So I'll tell you that there is a lot of work that happens in the summertime, a lot of planning, a lot of, in this summer especially, there's a lot of work done throughout all of our buildings. So I'm blessed to be here. I want to thank everybody who did all this work. And you can really see a lot of the things happening around the district, and it's an exciting time. So before we get going, I wanted to thank everybody. First things first, instead of a Sky Spotlight, because we really haven't had any students in, I kind of wanted to give a brief update as to our spring assessments that I gave the staff this morning in our welcome back session. I know there's a lot of talk online, and it doesn't fit a lot of narrative in terms of how people like to attack schools, but we had a lot of progress this year. So I'll tell you that the things that I've been looking at are whether or not we can grow kids in a year's worth of time. And I'm here to tell you that we do. We do a lot of that. So I'll tell you that 86% of the contents and assessments we have in the spring, we did better than what the state expected us to do in. And not just a little bit better, a lot better than what the state expected us to do in. So for that, I want to say kudos to all of our students in grades 3 through 8, as well as the Keystone areas. 86% of them doing better than what the state says is a pretty good job. And when I look at that with our AP courses at the high school, our most advanced courses, same thing, we had 88% of our classes do better than what the state expected. Only one course did not meet that expectation, which once again is outstanding. So I'll tell you that our AP scores have never been higher. Our passing rate has never been higher. It's great to see some of these improvements happening in the classroom, and all the hard work that the teachers and administrators are doing with the students is paying off. So kudos to everybody for that. Now, I do know that proficiency, everybody likes to point at proficiency and pull out some metrics of websites that aren't really valid, but I'll speak to that as well. If I look at our scores versus our scores the past 4 years and the state's averages the past 4 years, we by and large outperform the state averages by 22%. And I'll tell you that math is a little bit better than ELA, which we're going to work on ELA a little bit this year as a district. Math typically is doing 46% better than what the state averages are across the grade levels, which is pretty awesome. I'll tell you that there still is a lot of work that needs to be done, especially in the open-ended areas for both ELA and math. But I'll tell you also, I'll give a shout out to the middle school. The middle school is outperforming the state averages by 64% across the board. So if you would see the gap between how the middle school does and how the state averages are, it's very impressive. And I'll add that, and that's in proficiency, not just growth, that's proficiency. So Growth-wise, I'll also tell you that the gap between how the middle school actually did and how they were expected to do is pretty large. So whenever I get to that portion of our assessment updates later in the fall, I'll get into that a little bit more detail once the PVOS data is out. So, but I wanted to get that out now because I know it's a hot topic online, so I wanted to address it. Okay? Two more things. There was some discussion in the community about the middle school schedule. I'm here to tell you that no, we are not cutting band or chorus. I will tell you that as it stands right now, we do have 44 more kids in band or chorus at the middle school than we did last year, which is awesome. And the great thing about that is we had some schedule changes at the middle school level that allow for not only small group instruction, but we allow for whole group instruction in addition to individual and small group lessons on top of that. So compared to the amount of time students got in music last year, we are far surpassing that, expected to surpass that this year, in addition to elective classes that are happening at the middle school for students who really, really deep dive into music classes. We have 4 elective classes at the middle school range, which is awesome. I'll tell you, as somebody who hasn't just stayed in this building or this district my whole career, 20-some years in education, I was able to go into different middle schools across the county, see their master schedules, see the offerings they have. I'm proud to say I'm from a community that offers all of these things to our kids and gives them the options that most middle schools do not have the option to do. So I want to kudos
Can I add
to...
something to this?
In 1 second. In 1 second, please.
I did some research.
In 1 second, please.
On music education.
I got you. In 1 second. So kudos to our middle school staff and our music staff that came up with the ideas to make this master schedule work. Okay?
This is the report from the National Association for Music Education. And their conclusions are that music education benefits student literacy, as well as development, and particularly important in the early grades. And they show how the various skills that are involved in music contribute to being able to analyze things better and to read better and to pick up on, you have a rate of reading and so forth, But their report was very supportive of
Absolutely. And I'll tell you,
in the
somebody
early
who grew up in a music program, I'm a math guy, so music and math go hand in hand in my mind. So
I would just like to follow up what Dr. Fike said as well. If that is, aren't you the chair of the Personnel Committee, Dr. Fike?
What did you say?
Are you the chair of the Personnel Committee? You should bring that to your committee meeting, and we should discuss adding an elementary.
There's no point in me going to that meeting, but we'll discuss that later.
Oh, I was just saying that maybe we could discuss adding an elementary band teacher, since you mentioned that.
We let the superintendent give the rest of his report.
Okay, I guess I'm done. I'm dismissed. Okay.
Can I add one thing? Just
Absolutely.
to go on. So I was asked probably a dozen times this week out in the community about this, and everyone on Facebook's upset. We have 3-4 community members here. So if anyone's watching and gets on Facebook and gets into these topics, and it's happened many times before, come to the meetings. Facebook does not give us the feedback that we need. We've got 4 community members out here right now. Please come, attend these, give us your opinions, give us your feedback. That's really what we need, not keyboard warriors when it comes to topics in our children's education.
I would add, I would even welcome an email or a phone call first.
Absolutely.
Because that being stopped in the middle of my weekend in family time when I'm trying to get a daughter ready for college to handle some of the misinformation that's out there, whenever it could be handled in an email or a quick phone call, I would add to that. So that's a good point, Mr. Yitzi. The last thing I have is, for the board's information, we've attached the building handbooks for 25-26 for the high school, the middle school, and both SPC and SCS that will be up on our website for our students. And that's all I have.
Under the superintendent's report, are we allowed to discuss those handbooks now, or it's going to happen later?
This is the only place, it's not a voting item, it's just a discussion item.
Can I ask questions about these? I read these 3 handbooks.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to. If you have any questions, I would ask you to please direct them to the principals. They're the ones who created the handbooks.
Well, no, these would be board questions. Okay, a couple things that I paid close attention to. I don't think I'm the only person in the United States who isn't concerned about cell phones in schools. So I looked very carefully at what's written about cell phones in schools in our books here. And on page 10 of the high school, it addresses it. But I thought it was extreme. I don't know how you do it. It's under electronic devices, acceptable use. Cell phones and earbuds may be used on school grounds before, during, and after. Students are not permitted to use cell phones, earbuds, or any smart device, including watches, during instructional time. So what it says here is that apparently the teachers are required to make sure that every cell phone is on a desk turned upside down. But cell phones are permitted with teacher approval. How are you handling cell phones, particularly at the high school level in class?
I hate to call you out, Mrs. Colbank, but you're more than welcome to come to the podium and answer that. You're the one, boots on the ground, who handles that the most.
Thanks for asking. Currently, that device or that policy hasn't been changed from last year. Students aren't to have the phone out during instructional time. They're usually either on the floor or we have pencil cases that they keep them in. And during instructional time, when the teacher's teaching or interacting with students, the cell phones aren't to be out. And the teachers know that, the students know that. So in the event that they are out, on the first time it's a warning, and they tell them put the cell phone away. And the second time, they call the office and we take care of it. So the students are aware that they're not allowed to have them, as well as the teachers.
Do we have a cell phone problem in school?
We do.
Okay. Okay. I thought maybe I'm the only person in the planet who doesn't. The state of Alabama, you're not allowed to bring one in a building. You know, now I know we're not going to do that, but I hear these constant reports that this is affecting our children's education.
So we restrict them and tell them
And
not to
I'm
bring them.
concerned, do we have a plan at Southmoreland to deal with this? And I read it, and the middle school thing says the same stuff. And they give those 4 levels and so forth and so on. But I guess I'm more interested in the fact that this cell phone usage in our schools seems to be a problem to a lot of people, but not to us. And I just want to make sure, you know, at the high school, we're not leading the pack academically. And I just want to make sure that cell phones aren't contributing to that.
That's why we have the goal, the policy in place.
What did you say?
That's why we have the policy in place that's
Yeah.
in the handbook.
I think Dr. Boone just
Is it enough? Is it enough?
Usually it's a curb of them wanting to do it. You're going to have your 1 or 2 violators, but for the most part, they follow the rules.
So you would recommend we don't do anything more than that?
Some districts are doing pencil boxes like we do. Other districts are doing zip pouches. It's a cost to the district. We had the pencil boxes donated, so it was no cost to the district, and we just have the teachers enforce it. And it seems to be our kids are compliant.
They were telling me that during COVID, one of the problems we had is kids wouldn't log on, right? So that was a way, I mean, they were missing a serious component of education. My concern is if kids are looking at cell phones, and I'll be honest with you, I can't go into a restaurant that I don't see every person sitting there, kids, adults, plastered to their cell phones. And I'm hearing so much on the national news, and I don't want Southmoreland to be to lag behind in terms of what is appropriate for us to do. Many people are taking very drastic action, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but I read those policies on the cell phones, and I guess I just didn't think they had much teeth, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'll tell you, as somebody who has kids in the buildings, as a parent, I do see the rules enforced. My kids see the rules enforced. As Ms. Colbank said, there are some who are repeat offenders, and there are some where the policy in place is enough to tell them not to put their stuff out. So, but as a parent in the district, it's out there, and the policies are out there, and the teachers are following it.
Do you see any problems for the future with that?
Problems with the future?
with the cell
I
phones?
see it to be a classroom management issue myself. If I was a teacher, there are certain things that you can do on the cell phone for engagement that I'd be using. But that's me. I'm not every teacher.
Do you think it's worth us looking at that more carefully?
If I had the money to invest in doing more, I'd love to do that. Or if I had another administrative staff to help with that, I'd be all for it. But we are stretched thin as we are.
Well, I'm talking about the handbook,
I'm saying we can't even address the handbook with the current level of staffing we have right now.
On page 10, it refers to Appendix A. I went through this thing 10 times. Where's Appendix A? Is it titled there somewhere? Did I miss it? Because I went through it about 5 times. It says, see Appendix A.
What word are you saying? I don't understand. A what? I can't understand what you're asking.
The Southmoreland High School Student Guide and Code of
I
Conduct.
couldn't understand what you were saying. I couldn't understand Appendix A. That's all I was asking.
On page 10, it refers to Appendix A.
Okay.
And I looked for Appendix A, and I can't find it. Can you help me to find out where Appendix A is?
It's
in
not
this?
attached, but we can get that for you.
What?
It's not attached to there, but we can get that for you.
Oh, okay.
It's not
Yeah, it's not attached
to
on
this.
there, right.
Okay. On pages 33 and 34, it talks about detention. There are several levels of detention. Other than on Saturday, are we providing transportation for kids who stay an hour after school or who come in at 6:30 in the morning for detention?
We do not have transportation. We contact the parent, and the parent is cooperative and provides transportation for that student. The detentions at the high school level were not that often, if we do have them. When I first started here a few years ago, we had more than what we have now, but it's curbed since we put that in place.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that should be in the code of conduct, that when a kid gets detention, either 6:30 in the morning or stays after school, that the parent would be responsible for, or the kid somehow has to get themselves home. I was wondering, are we running a bus for, 3?
No, that's
I didn't think
typically-
so, but it's not in this book.
No, that's typically a phone call conversation whenever Ms. Colbank and Ms. Potocznik are working with the kid and talking with the parent.
Couldn't that be put in here? The parents, they will be responsible for their own transportation based on
I'd be more than happy to.
detention. I just thought it would clarify things. The other thing I noticed that on page 50 and 52, it's about harassment and discrimination. And it says unlawful harassment and unlawful discrimination. And then under that, it says full-time level, 100% of school time in a special education. Southmoreland does not operate any full-time special education. I was wondering why that's under harassment and discrimination. And then on the next page, if you look at it, it says here, the Southmoreland District provides a full, F-U-L-L, full range of special education services made available to all students who are eligible. We don't, because it says earlier that we don't provide full-time special ed, and that would be part of the full range, would it not?
Full-time and full range are two different things.
Well, but it says here, we provide full range, and I don't think we do, and it's okay, It's just that I think this statement contradicts the one ahead of it in terms of what's in this.
Now, I would say full-time and full range are two different things.
What?
Full-time and full range are two different things.
Full-time's not part of the range of education? Special ed? think
I
it
mean,
is.
so when you're talking about special education services, you have full-time services, which means a student spends the entire day in the same classroom all day long. You have supplemental services, and you have itinerant services.
But the range goes from
But
here
full
to
range is
here.
different. Full range is different. Full range is the type of services available to the kid. Full range and full-time are two different things.
But the range goes from here to here, and that includes everything. A range includes everything, beginning to
In terms
the
of
end.
type of service.
But I just think it's a misnomer.
I think full range would be like we provide speech, we provide OT, we provide, hearing assistance, and then level would be like a vertical how much.
And I wanted to ask about the cell phone regulation as I see it in the primary and elementary school stuff. it's in there with things like snacks and alcohol and weapons and stuff like that. But my question so much about the cell phone thing is, it's under electronic devices. And it's again, I'm about the worst board member there is on this, but I thought our electronic devices were our iPads, our, cell phone, or our, those kinds of things that we give to the kids, to study with. So it seems to me they're mixed together. And I guess maybe maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think cell phones should be addressed separately from electronic devices. Everything is lumped under. It's all lumped under electronic devices. And I thought that indicated that the kids should take care of their laptops. They should turn them in at the end of the year. They should not lose them. They should not break them. They should not steal them, that kind of thing. And I thought that was very different. But I would ask if the administration would at least consider looking at our cell phone policies. Apparently, kids at primary have them too, because primary and elementary schools, it says they have them.
Dr. Fike, I want to go back to page 34. I'm sorry, I'm skipping a beat here. Page 34 says transportation is the responsibility of the student and/or parent guardian.
On Saturday.
Under Saturday.
On Saturday. Oh, I saw that.
Okay.
My concern is, I was visualizing a bus with 3 or 4 kids on it because they had an hour's detention at the end of the day, or we had to go pick them up at 6:30 to bring them in.
No.
And I didn't think we did, but I think it should be the parent's responsibility, should be outlined. I think that's very important because a parent can say, look, I can't get the kid there. I don't have to bring the kid there. I don't know. But well, thank you for letting me go over that. Those were my concerns when I read those.
That's all I have, Mr. Friend.
Solicitor's information.
I have no report tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you. Business Manager, Transportation Director information.
Yes, thank you. One of the things that I always show you each month is the cyber charter comparison. Looking at the amount that we paid last fiscal year was almost $2 million. One of the things that I will ask is that, once again, that people contact their local legislators and ask for cyber charter reform, because I do not believe that school districts can continue with these type of dollar figures that we're having to pay. One of the things that I can say that I have been doing since the budget has not been passed by the state, myself, I'm sure like all business managers within the state, we are carefully monitoring our cash. Some school districts have had to have TAN loans, which is tax anticipation note. Thankfully, we are okay as a district right now. We are not having to do that, and thankfully, some of our real estate taxes have begun coming in, so we're okay. We're in an okay spot at this point in time. So I just wanted to let the board and the public know that. And as far as the business office, we have begun working with the local auditors for this fiscal year. So far, we have presented close to 70 reports to them. And that's basically all that I have for this month.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, on the cover sheet, it says that you included the cyber chart information for different periods of time.
Yes.
And I went back and looked at 3 of them. The one was from, it's the oldest one, and I saw those numbers. And then you have one here that goes paid through May and then paid through June.
Correct.
So, Pam, am I wrong? I looked at this and really labored over it. Are we now $567,347 short?
That is
That's $500,000. It's $600,000. And I'll tell you what I did. I looked at the last one, and it was the May, or the one before that, and it was like 530-some thousand. So it keeps going up.
Correct.
Okay. So what are we going to do about that? I mean, you budgeted, and that was only to June of '25. Don't you get some more bills over the summertime, or not? Are they all paid?
We have paid everything that we have thus far. We still maybe, I would have to check with Joanne to see if we've received all the year-end reconciliation.
You had said before you get stragglers. that
We
come
do,
in.
we do, and that's why I want to check with, because we're into August now, so I want to check with Joanne, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, this says
Still
through
have more
June. This says through June, so I could only go through
Right.
June. But I thought you did make payments in July and.
We absolutely do, yes.
So Pam, that's a big deficit.
It is.
It's probably $600,000. Now, what do we do about that?
Well, we do have some funds set aside in our designated fund balance for cyber charter overages. It is my hope that we do not have to dig into that, but if we do, that is something that is set aside in assigned fund balance for
I would
cyber
say,
charter.
I'm sorry, Pam, I would say advocate, advocate, advocate. Call your reps, call your
Yes.
senators. That's
Yes.
important.
Well, we can call them, but they're not going to pay this bill. I'm
I understand,
concerned.
but
They're not.
the more people that call them, the more they're going to think that this is a problem.
Well, that would be the future. I guess I'm concerned with now, because I'm seeing this big deficit.
I'm worried about the both.
No,
Now,
I am too. Oh, I think the future's ominous, Jason. I'll be honest with you. I think
But
it's,
that is why Dr. Boone and I have been asking folks to advocate to the state, basically to ask for cyber charter reform. That's something that not only our district, but my understanding is the majority of districts within the state of Pennsylvania have been dealing with this problem, and it's continually getting worse. We're not the only ones affected by this, and that's why we're asking for advocacy.
okay. But Pam, for the future, now, did you budget? See, according to this last column, it says what percent of the budget is used. If you have 1.538, that's 153%, is that right? And it's 145% and 144%, 201%. Those are the percentages of the
Right.
money that has already been used. So this year, what did you budget? How high did you go on those numbers? I mean, I couldn't tell by looking at my budget. Did you go way up to did you add another $600,000?
I did not, because whenever we went to talk with them in Harrisburg, we were led to believe that there was going to be cyber charter reform.
What do we do, Pam? What do we do? I mean, we owe the bill.
Right, that is correct. And that's why I had you in, was it April, May, reassign some additional funds to cyber charter in
Yes,
our
you did.
assigned fund balance, because obviously we needed to put something set
But if you
aside.
take $600,000 out of our fund balance, that's a big whack.
It is. I do not believe we'll have to take all of that out, but we're, working on reconciling everything for the end of the fiscal year, and obviously the auditors have not come in yet. So it is my hope that we won't have to take anything anywhere near that out, but, I wanted to prepare the district in case we did have a problem and needed to do that.
Pam, before the year starts, do you know which cyber schools charge for each student? Do you know their tuition rate?
Each year, we have to fill out, I believe it's, and I'm hoping I'm going to get the PDE number right. It's PDE, I believe, 363. And we give them all the information from this past fiscal year, and then our new rates are determined.
But apparently you have to budget before you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the problem.
Pam, that's $600,000.
Right. And part of the reason why
That's
we did.
4 mills. It's 4 mills.
And part of the reason, Dr. Fike, that we did not go up higher in last year's budget was because they had also talked last year about cyber charter reform, which did not truly,
Don't ever believe a politician.
well,
No, I'm
know,
kidding.
we can hope
But
and
I think
pray.
that's a real problem. You don't know what you're paying.
correct. That's the problem right now that all districts are facing, because
Yeah, I understand that, but there has to be a solution. And if the solution is not to change the cyber school, money allotted to them, then we have to know, somehow we have to know what we're in for. I mean, Pam, not knowing something's worse than
Correct.
I mean, knowing something's better than not knowing is what I'm
Correct.
saying.
What I basically do is, for any of my expenditure items, I do a 5-year analysis.
Yeah.
And I look to see where we are. Now, obviously, and this one, because we didn't raise it high enough, because with the assumption that there was going to be some cyber charter relief.
I mean, I don't want to belabor it, but this is $600,000, Pam. This is not trivial.
Trust me, I lose sleep over this, Dr. Fike.
Yeah, there's a reason we kept asking people to advocate.
Correct.
Because
And I'm not blaming you, Pam. Do you
substantiate any
understand?
kind of
I
tax
know.
increase.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying we have a problem that we have to solve.
I understand that, and that's why, as Dr. Boone just said, that's why we ask for people to advocate, because I think the only way that we're going to see real change is if we get people to speak up and say, this has to change.
Pam, do you know who's getting the money this year? Public transportation. You know about that?
Yes,
They went $300 and $400 and $500 million not to
Yes.
cut schedules on buses.
that's correct.
And they're hassling on that left and right, and Kim Ward wants to take it out of the rainy day fund, and, I mean, that's all they talk about.
Right. And I can tell you, as you've seen, which I've shared some of the stuff with you, I monitor PASBO's website each week.
Yeah.
And when we get legislative updates, I do share them with you. And it talks about that.
I think you have more people fighting for public transportation than for education.
Well, that's why I'm on my little soapbox here asking for advocacy.
Yeah. Well, would you take a look at that and see what we can do with that?
Yes, I can do.
I see it as a problem we have to solve. I'm sure you do too.
Yep, agreed.
Thank you.
I believe that's it.
All right, thank you. CWCTC report.
Yeah, the only update, I'll piggyback on Pam, is we did set the cyber tuition rate for going to CWCTC at $15,000 to try to get some of that money back to the community. So,
Excellent.
that's all I got.
Thank you. WIU report.
Okay, the meeting, they held a special meeting on July 7th. The IU ordinarily does not meet in July, but it was some very critical issues. So there was a special meeting on July the 7th, and the 13 board members were present. The first thing we got was a handout showing the number of students that the IU serves. And folks, it's thousands and thousands and thousands. But the reason is there's so many different programs. There's so many programs. One of the ones that I've paid a lot of attention to is the early intervention, and they've made significant changes in that. That's a huge program. Those are kids from 3 to 5, I think it is. I think they have 28 teachers in that program. I think that's right. And then those 5-year-olds move on to kindergarten. But that's just one example, but there are huge numbers of kids. Remember, that's 17 school districts that they serve in the whole county. That's why that student count is very high. We talked a lot about the budget update, and of course, as you know, there at that time, certainly, I think now too, there's no Pennsylvania budget yet. And so the IU felt that they possibly may need to do a tax anticipation loan. And that could be something that affects our district too. I mean, it depends, on how that handles. And they, what they looked at is, since there's no funding, they were going to wait until after the budget passes to look for the tax anticipation loan, but they are kind of preparing for it. So they took on a firm called Dinsmore, and they are the ones that are going to do the revenue anticipate note for 2025. It was signed by Anthony Ditka. I remember Mike Ditka. But
He's your bond counsel. He was here a couple months ago.
Yes?
what?
I said,
Their bond
Mr.
counsel.
Ditka is your bond counsel, the district's bond counsel.
Is that it, relative?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same guy that was here a couple months ago.
Oh, I didn't know his last name.
Yeah, that's his Uncle Mike.
When I was at St. Francis, my roommate dated Mike Ditka, and she married somebody else, and I was mad at her. Do you know how many free football tickets we could have had if she had married him? Anyhow, then for we had an executive session for just for personnel, but we were introduced to Sarah Roberts, the new Human Resources Administrator, and she does things like staffing, recruiting. She managed records for compliance, and she does all the human resource issues. She is SHRM certified. And we also met Dr. Rebecca Henderson, and she is really one of the leading people for the business strategy that the IU is trying to implement. And, not to beat a dead horse, but the IU feels that they've got to start bringing in some of their own money because they can't just constantly depend on get what they can get. So they're implementing a business strategy. Okay. Let me give you a couple more things that were important. Okay. For the second month in a row, they tried to get somebody to be the PSBA liaison, and it did not work, so there is none. But one of the reasons that we had the special meeting, they had to elect officers. And Dallas Leonard was elected to be president, and then Mrs. Bretz was the vice president. And for the treasurer, it's common practice, but Tammy Good is their business manager, and she was appointed treasurer. Christy Ridenauer has served for 17 years as the board secretary, but she no longer has that job. She can't have that job. So the board had an election, and what they did was they had nominations, and the Westmoreland Intermediate Board elected as the new board secretary, Dr. Catherine Fike. That's all I have. Get the signed paycheck.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's
Okay, thank you. For committee reports, it looks like the only committee that has met since our last meeting is Personnel Policy and Academics. Dr. Fike, you are the chair of that committee?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there.
So I get the sense that you're not participating in the committee meetings that you're the chair of? Is that,
I think that's the first committee meeting I've ever missed.
okay.
Can you think of any other that I've missed?
Yeah, and then we can look back. Is that a role that you are willing to continue? The chair?
There are no more meetings scheduled. It's the end of the thing. If you look
October 13th.
October 13th is next meeting.
What is it?
October 13th.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll be appointing new people somebody will be appointed to do that in the future, so you should really just
I don't
move
think
on
by
without me.
October, though.
No, not by October. Okay, so you're giving that up? Because,
I don't have to give it up. I don't have to be there because when you go to those meetings, they put this on the Promethean board, and then you bring it to the public meeting, and it's the same information.
Yes.
It's the same information. So I don't see where that makes any difference.
Okay. So one of those of you that were in attendance of that meeting, want to give a rundown of kind of what went on?
I can talk briefly. So,
I thought Richard and I would rock, paper, scissors.
are you guys going to rock, paper, scissors? I'm okay with that, but.
I think you can. Are you good with Dr. Boone doing it?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So three-pronged: personnel, policy, academics. Personnel, we talked about the agreements that are up this year. Thankfully, there's only 2 that need done, which makes it nice. We talked about the spring summary hiring recap, all of the new people that came to our district. Just wanted to go over and make sure that everybody was aware of all the new people coming into our district and what positions they are in. And then we talked about the 25-26 professional development plan for our professional staff for the entire year. In terms of policy, we talked about the 3 policies that are on the agenda tonight for first read. They are all mandated to be updated. And then under academics, we talked about the assessments. We talked about the fact that this is our last year kindergarten through 5th grade ELA curriculum resources. So at some point this year, we need to work through the process of really taking a look at all of our data, all of our resources, and determining what path we want to go forward after this year in terms of what resources our students use in grades K through 5. We talked about a realignment in social studies, grades 4 to 12, that we're going to look at this year to implement the following school year. And then, once again, we talked about the misinformation out there for the middle school schedule. That's all.
Excellent. The next meeting is October 13th, 2025. School safety and security, the next meeting is September 22nd, 2025. And buildings and grounds, the next meeting is October 13th, 2025. Student reports. Welcome.
We are excited to begin the 2025-2026 school year here at Southmoreland High School. This year, we are offering 10 new electives, including courses like Intro to Foods, Woodshop, Mythology, and Public Speaking. That's just to name a few. Our freshman orientation yesterday went very well, with more students attending than previous years, which helped our new students feel welcome and prepared. We also want to recognize one of our students, Kaylin Raymond, who completed a service project that provided school supplies for students in need throughout our community. Her work is a great example of how Southmoreland students are making a difference. Our senior sunrise will be held at Ruscroom Stadium at 6:15 a.m. to celebrate the start of an exciting final year for our seniors. Southmoreland High School will also hold its first ever SAT testing on Saturday, September 13th. In addition, our first pep rally will be held Friday, September 5th. We will recognize the homecoming court, the challenge program, and our fall athletic teams. Thank you for all of your support as we begin another successful school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will offer it up. You are more than welcome to leave right now.
I'm fine with staying.
Okay.
You don't have
All right,
homework?
she's a trooper.
He's a trooper. All right, next section is school board.
Meeting minutes. The board is asked to approve the following meeting minutes. June 24th, 2025, discussion voting meeting.
So do.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? School dentist. The board is asked to approve Dr. Jeffrey McCloy of McCloy Family Dentistry as the school dentist for the 25-26 school year at a fee of $10 per exam.
So do. Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Next section is policies.
The board is asked to post the following policies for 30 days.
So do.
Second.
Discussion. All those in
I
favor?
have,
Go ahead.
I was surprised under policies about conflicts of interest. And are the forms that we fill out every year for disclosure of financial interest, are they public?
So I know that they are required to be maintained, and that if the Ethics Commission asks for them, they get them directly from the local custodian of those records. I do not know whether or not they constitute public records under the right to know law, but I can check that out.
Well, the reason I ask is I never knew this, but the district solicitor is required to file a statement of financial interest.
I do it every year.
I did not know that,
Okay.
and I just wondered what it looked like.
It's pretty boring, but
But the conflict of interest thing, apparently it's only if money's involved, is that right?
yeah, the Ethics Act is pretty tunnel visioned with regard to the definitions of corruption or conflicts of interest tend to be either money-related or familial relationships.
The reason that I ask that is when somebody applies for a job here, they have to sign a statement before they are interviewed. Is that correct? Before they are interviewed?
I mean, Lori can handle the procedure part of that. She's the one who handles all the paperwork.
If you fill out a form saying, I have a conflict of interest, okay, do they fill out that form before any other action is taken?
As far as a conflict of interest, we don't really have a conflict of interest form.
Suppose a relative of yours applies for a job.
Oh, that, yes.
When is that known?
As soon as they apply. We have an online application. It's on our employment page.
Okay.
It's for anyone to fill out.
Okay, and that information, then what do you do with that information? Or
I keep it personal.
keep it personal? So the people who are doing the hiring don't know this.
Correct. Not at the time.
So the conflict of interest that is declared is essentially hidden from the people who are doing the hiring.
Well, it's not hidden from them. If they would ask to see it, they may.
How would they know how would I have asked to see it? I mean, I don't know to ask. I mean, if somebody fills out an application, I have no idea. How would I know would I have to ask every person or?
Well, when someone applies for a job, that's not public knowledge.
No, the conflict of interest. I'm not talking about the application for the job. But how would somebody know that there would be a conflict of interest in the hiring process? The answer is they don't.
I actually don't think the conflict of interest occurs in the hiring process unless one of the members of the interview team has a conflict of interest because of a familial relationship with the person being interviewed. Otherwise, the conflict of interest piece really attaches when you're voting on extending an offer of employment. I think just as from an HR perspective, there are lots of reasons why I wouldn't necessarily want that conflict of interest to be disclosed at the beginning, because you could say arguably then, is the process tainted if the people who are on the interview team know that so-and-so is somebody's daughter, husband, wife? I mean, maybe you have a different opinion about that, but there's no law there that would say that one way or the other is
Then why do we
wrong.
bother to ask?
I think you bother to ask because you want to have the information available when it comes time to decide when you're extending an offer of employment, as far as who may need to recuse themselves or abstain from voting.
Mr. Lucas, I've sat in on a couple of interviews, and that information has never been provided to the people who do the hiring or recommending.
But see, I mean, and you and I might have different opinions about this, but I think that is actually probably a good practice from an HR perspective, because if I'm a group of candidates, whether it's principal candidates or whatever, and there's a board member's son who's being one of the interviewed candidates, and I'm concerned as a principal whether or not my decision to evaluate that candidate lower than others is going to have repercussions to me, I think that you could say that there is a greater ability to obtain a fair and unbiased evaluation of that person's strengths in an interview if the interviewer doesn't know that they're related to a public official.
How could you know to ask the question? I wouldn't have had a clue.
I am not sure at this point that our discussion really relates to this board policy.
Do you understand that conflict of interest and nepotism and things like that could have a long history
Of course.
in board hiring, a long history? And I just think that if there are such things, they should be made available with the application. I think that would be an honest way to do with it. Or don't ask. Don't even ask if there's a conflict of interest if you're not going to use the information in a positive and constructive way.
Wasn't there recently in a different school district local to us that the administration recommended hiring of a candidate? The board did not hire that candidate because it was somebody who was running for office's relative. And so I feel like that is probably why it is not disclosed who a candidate is related to, so that those type of decisions can't be made based upon that. Like, I'm not going to vote to hire you because you are so-and-so who could bump me out of my coveted school board positions, cousin or uncle or nephew or whatever it is. So I see it more as a protective measure for all parties to not have that information.
Yeah, and I think it's a good discussion. Again, I think it might be, these policies are PSBA recommended, and we would join in their recommendation that you have all these policies in place.
All right, back to the policy updates. The board is asked to post the following policies for 30 days. I have a motion and a second. We've had discussion, on to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Next section is personnel.
Cafeteria remuneration rates. The board is asked to approve the following remuneration rates effective 8/19/2025. Number one, substitute cafeteria/food service personnel, $13.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Good. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Personnel log. The board is asked to approve the personnel log for August 19th, 2025 as attached. All salaries are included and all clearances are current and on file with the administration.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Why are FMLA leaves included in personnel? Isn't that a separate category?
So the board's practice, as the agenda is put together, has been to include everything related specifically to individual personnel within the personnel log for purposes of confidentiality.
So those leaves are just
Mr.
lumped in.
Mr. President, I remove myself from the vote for Lenice Grabiak, and I support the other members, the other people for the positions.
Okay. So on to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? (2025-2026) band chaperones. The board is asked to approve the list of band chaperones for the 2025-2026 school year.
So do.
Second.
Discussion?
What kind of clearances do they need to do that?
They have their state police clearances and their child abuse clearances that get turned into the school district. And they're kept on file by Lori, I presume?
They're actually held by the bus garage.
For the band chaperones?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the bus.
Did ask
Sorry.
the solicitor.
Whoa, that's out there.
Whoa.
The chaperones,
They're
yes,
required.
I do maintain those.
Well, I wanted to make sure, okay.
Well, as a marching band mom, I can speak to what they require, so that's why I answered. Sorry. I'm not a solicitor.
Sorry, I was taking notes and I was a little behind.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 2025-2026 school bus driver list. The board is asked to approve the list of bus drivers for the 25-26 school year provided by Quest Transit.
So do.
Second.
Discussion?
Ironically, their clearances are held by the band boosters.
I'll let the band secretary know that he's got a tall order.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Dude, that was smooth. Mentor teachers. The board is asked to approve the following list of mentor teachers for the 25-26 school year.
So do.
Second.
Discussion.
Can I ask a general question? Why do we have to vote on this?
I know they are paid for this mentoring,
Okay.
so that's probably why.
Perfect. Thank you.
John, did you ask why there are empty blocks there?
No, he asked why we had to vote on it.
I believe anybody with empty blocks, they do not need a mentor. They're just new to us, but they already have experience.
All those in
Like,
favor?
who would be the mentors then for the two new teachers we're hiring? We hiring 3 new teachers.
The 3 at the top are teachers that have not earned tenure yet, so they always automatically get a mentor. The ones below have already, they're level 2 and tenured, so they're experienced teachers.
They don't need one.
They're typically assigned one only if they need it, but they don't have to go through the induction program. That's something that we try to make sure that our non-tenured teachers have to go through with a mentor.
All these people we're hiring are beyond the need, we have to assume they're beyond the need for a mentor.
The ones under professional, and then there's a couple at the bottom that are just carryovers from last year listed. It's a 2-year program.
Okay, on to the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Next section is education.
Student service agreements. The board is asked to approve the following annual student service agreements. 1, Clelian Heights. 2, Centerville Clinics. 3, SPHS Behavioral Health. 4, Intermediate Unit 1.
So do.
Second.
Discussion.
Is there any way for us to know how many service agreements we have? How many different agencies we're?
We can get you that information later. We don't have that on us.
Pam, could you let me know how many? Because it seems like we vote on this a lot.
I can,
You don't have to do it now, but maybe
That's
later.
what I say. We'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, later, to get back to me, because I'm really confused about how many of these there are.
On to the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? District educational plans. The board is asked to approve the following educational plans for the 25-26 school year. Number 1, Southmoreland Primary Center Title I Plan. Number 2, Southmoreland Elementary School Title I Plan. Number 3, Southmoreland High School TSI Plan.
So do.
Second.
Discussion?
I have a number of questions about these plans. Would you explain to me, I'm sure everybody else knows this, but what is, the high school does not have a title plan, but it has a TSI plan. What do the letters TSI stand for?
Yeah, TSI stands for Targeted School Improvement, and what Targeted School Improvement stands for is if, what the state does is they have 3 levels of school improvement support, one being comprehensive school improvement, the third one being ATSI, which is another level, and then TSI is the lowest of all levels. It's essentially a warning. And what those are brought up for are for specific student groups that are not just performing below the standard, but they get identified for secondary resources. And our biggest issue that identifies any subgroup in this district has been attendance. So it is eerily important for us to make sure we engage kids. We provide them opportunities that they want to come to school for. But additionally, these data sets for these plans were from the 2022 school year, was where they pulled the attendance from.
Can I
So
ask,
anything in the past 2 school years had no effect on any of the attendance because that's not what it was pulled from.
can I ask some questions about these things? On page 5 of the high school, it says that a challenge's academic growth expectations is math, algebra, and all student groups did not meet the standard demonstrating growth. Again, there's no growth. Then, on the other one, on page 7, it says that one of our challenges is that 69.5% of our students are chronically absent. Student attendance, 69.5 chronically absent. Is that what you were talking about?
That's what I was talking about. That's why it's eerily important, not eerily, it's essential for us to provide opportunities for our kids that make them want to come to school.
But that's like 70% of the kids
I understand that
are
number.
chronically absent.
There's a reason why we're trying to change how we do business here.
Then there's, on page 10, it said, teachers lack training in the latest scientific content and effective instructional strategies. Students are disengaged from science due to uninspiring teaching methods, lack of relevance, or difficulty. There are disparities in access to quality science education, particularly among underserved student populations, and inadequate access to science equipment and materials and technology.
We haven't spent a lot of money on science stuff since I've been here. We do have new science standards that are coming out, and our teachers are learning about that.
Understand. But if we spend money on other things instead of this, how does that benefit our students?
We did get a brand-new set of science textbooks this past year to address that. Once again, these were topics from previous school years that get relayed into this school year.
And then we talked a lot about how good our kids were with career readiness, but it says here we have insufficient exposure to real-world industries and workplaces that hinder students' abilities to make informed career decisions. The curriculum is not aligned with current industry trends and demands, and that hinders graduates' relevance to the job market. And there are insufficient opportunities for students to build professional networks, and that can hinder their access to job opportunities.
And that's the beauty of the internship coordinator at the county level through the forum that we're a part of now. We have access to all of that. And I know Ms. Colbank has been working with the internship coordinator at CWCTC to expand our internship opportunities within our community. And I know she has several agreements in place already. I think they visited one of the local child cares either last week or the week before to make that connection so that some of our students can get some real world experience with a child care center that want to go into early education. So we're expanding in that regard.
I guess I'm confused because didn't we get the gold Olympic medal for career readiness or something last year?
I don't understand what you're talking
We got an award. We had the best career.
Wasn't that middle school?
Was it just one building?
I honestly don't know what you're referring to.
Okay, on page 18, it says that there are disparities in mathematics achievement among different student groups, such as those based on socioeconomic status, race, and gender.
Yeah, that's what targeted school improvement is all about. But once again, if you look, when you read those statements and you go to the right, it says true or false.
Yeah.
So if it says false, that means that doesn't apply to us.
Why would it have been listed as a challenge? I saw that, and I was confused.
You got to understand what this is. This is an output from the state system. It's an online web form that our principals have to go in and fill out, and then once they're done filling it out, they hit export PDF, and this is how it gets spit out.
I saw one page of those standards, and every single one was false except one.
That means it didn't apply to us, yeah.
But it said something like, making good progress in such and such, false. I mean, I was confused. I'll be honest with you. I was confused the way it was, maybe it's the way it was presented.
Yeah, that's the state system.
Imagine filling it out.
Yeah, filling it out is no fun.
And then they talked again about, on page 24, about the challenges. Some of this repeats itself, right?
Yes, because whatever you answer at the beginning of the plan opens up different drop-downs at the end of the plan because it's an online system. It's not a paper system.
Okay, and then when you look at the ones for the other schools, the like the primary center and so forth, and the challenge says 30% of our kids can't read enough words to go to second grade, and so forth. They have a Title I. They have a Title I.
Correct, because
plan.
there's not enough data in that building to even think about making it a TS
Right,
high
in the
school.
Title I plan.
Yeah, both SES and SPC are Title I schools, so every year they have to fill out a Title I
They don't
plan.
have SES, for example, or no, I guess it's the primary center. The primary center is where, and I had a question, on the steering committee for the primary center, Brian Shipley is listed as a steering committee. Brian, can you tell us what you did on that steering committee for this primary center?
For which month? This month?
Well, it's the primary center, Title I, the Title I program, the Title I program. The steering committee, it lists them all, and you're on there. It says you were on the steering committee for this, for the school.
So yes, and I'll answer that a little bit. Steering committees are essentially people who, we had a series of, is it 2 or 3 meetings, Mr. Haichu? 2 meetings in person or virtual, as well as reviews of the plan after the meetings. So anybody who's on the steering committee either
Brian,
attended the meeting or reviewed the plan.
Brian, how did you have input for that?
I don't know why you're asking me this question. It makes no sense. You're a chair of committee, you don't even go to the committee, or you don't even go to the meetings.
No, this is a Title I report. Title I report I'm talking about. This is not a committee meeting.
But I don't know why you're asking me.
Because you were listed. You were listed.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
You were listed. I just wondered because when a board member participates, I assume, that you had input, and I just wondered. On pages 23 and 24, well, on page 9, it says 30% of our first grade students were not able to read a minimum of 34 words per minute at the end of the school year. So how many students are in first grade? Like 150?
I typically go with 150 per grade level.
So that's almost a third. So like 45 kids come out of first grade not being able to read 34 words correctly, which is apparently the standard. And then it says 50% of the students accumulated a total of 10 or more absences so we have an absentee problem even at the primary center. Then for math, and maybe you can help me with this, Mr. The Superintendent. The strength on page 11 says 82% of our students scored within the average range or higher, the 25th percentile or higher. Is the 25th percentile, is that considered average?
I'm looking at Mr. Haichu, and he is shaking his head emphatically, yes.
If 82% of the kids scored 25% or higher,
That's not what that means.
that was listed as a strength.
That's not what that means.
I believe you. I believe
25th
you.
percentile and 25% are two different things.
Yes and no.
No, that's emphatically, that's a yes. They're two different things.
Okay. Now, on page 13, it says, limited time for counselor to meet with students to review data. Now, to students who review data at the primary center, how would you do that? How would primary students review data? Or are you talking about the counselor didn't review data?
I mean, I can look over to Mr. Haichu to help answer that one. I'm not in that building, boots on the ground, to see exactly how they do that. Mr. Haichu, would you be willing to come up and talk about that, please?
And then it also goes on to say on...
Hold on, Mr. Haichu is going to answer your question.
Go ahead.
So getting back to the question about the 25th percentile, the 25th percentile to the 75th percentile is considered the average range. Anything over the 75th percentile is above average. Anything below the 25th percentile is below average. So those are percentiles, not percentages. As it relates to the career readiness, we have our school counselor who does a magnificent job every year of bringing in family members and people from our community to do career readiness. In Mrs. Whitaker or our school counselor's day, her time is consumed with doing student lessons as it relates to growth indicators for social, emotional, behavioral health. There's not time in the day for her to sit and review specific data as it relates to career readiness with individual students because we're focusing on the social, emotional, and behavioral growth of 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. So really that's kind of like a statistic based on the state format of what we are required to report.
Mr. Haichu, I've been quick to state that I struggled through this report. There are a lot of things that are very difficult to understand.
What's your specific question?
Well,
Yeah, what-
okay, now it says for the primary center again. This is the primary.
Basically, through this process, which is a comprehensive Title I plan, we look at our strengths, we look at our weaknesses, and we target goals for improvement. Every year at the primary center, primarily over the years that I've been here, we've continued to focus on 3 goals: improving academic achievement, improving our family engagement, and improving our student attendance. So the highlights of this report and this finding of that committee was the fact that, once again, we're struggling with attendance, so we're doing some things additionally this year with our goals for improving student engagement and student attendance with quarterly and yearly recognition and rewards for certain attendance standards, and then we're also going to specifically target family engagement with after-school activities that we're developing and I'm developing to bring families and parents into the school for combined activities with their students. Lastly, we were looking at improving our student academic achievement as it relates to leaving first grade with the ability to read a standard number of words correct per minute. So 34 words correct per minute is the bottom range of the average range. Looking at that data, we determined that that would not be a good projection for proficiency by third grade standards on PSSAs. So we're looking at a top level percentile for correct words per minute of being closer to 65 to 70 words correct per minute as our goal to try and get 85% of our students at that level by the end of this year. Last year, we had 70% of our students were able to read 34 words correctly per minute by the end of the year, which is within the average range, but on the low end of average. So our goal is to shoot for a higher level of proficiency with reading by the end of first grade. So that's, in a nutshell, our findings based on the committee meetings and what our goals are.
Ron, you understand I can only go by what I'm given here.
Yeah, that's all, and
it says
everything I just said is in that report.
59% of our students reached the year-end goal in mathematics, so what 41% did not. 41% of the students did not reach the end-of-year growth projection in mathematics. And apparently it says 50% of the students have an attendance problem. I mean, you talked about that.
Right.
We do have an attendance problem. And then again, it talks about the first grade students, 30% of them could not read 34 words. And then one of the things it says that one of the challenges is that to implement a multi-tiered system of supports for academics and behavior, an evidence-based system of school-wide positive behavior. I thought you had done that. Aren't you working on that?
We're initiating that this year with the trainings. We have our first trainings this coming month of actually in October.
Okay.
We have scheduled trainings to occur before they will be all finished with our Title I core team member trainings will occur before the new school before the new calendar year.
Okay, then it says here, the target for the first quarter, 85% of the first grade students will read 25 words. You talked about that.
It's a progression based on the expected
progressive
growth
third
rate
quarter.
of reading, oral reading fluency over periods of time.
Okay, and there's a big difference because if you look at the target that you have this year for the fourth quarter, it's for 85% of those students to read 70 words, which doubles the percentage
Right.
and the amount of
I
words.
talked with my staff today about that very thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the challenge that we have before us, and we all are familiar with the goal that we've established.
I mean, that's a great goal. That's a great goal. And
It's very ambitious.
I'm pleased to see this. The other question I had, it says here, the money that you get for this, for training is $6,000?
That's specific training for our routines in terms of how we're instructing
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah. ECRI training, it says in there. Yeah.
Enhanced core reading instruction.
Yeah. And then Title I for the elementary school, well, that wouldn't, well, yeah, you're there at the elementary too, aren't you, or aren't you anymore?
I am not.
You're not there anymore, okay. Now, a lot of these are listed operational, emerging, and so forth. Can you tell me what emerging means?
Operational is if we're doing it functionally. Emerging is if it's a new initiative.
Say that again, Ron. Emerging is what?
Emerging is if it's a new initiative that we're working toward it. Operational if it's currently in practice.
It's a new initiative, and it's, on this page, it's like more than half, yeah. Now, there was another question. This is not you. This is not you. This is the elementary school. Well, it was you.
Okay, so is Mr. Haichu good to go?
Okay. Well,
I'm asking.
I think he can on this one. It says that teaming time has allowed teams to agree on a viable curriculum, and you say that's false. What does that mean?
Once again, it means that it is not an issue for our building. It's not an issue in this plan. True means it is something that affects the plan. False means it is something that does not affect the development of this plan. It comes directly from the state system.
It says, examine the summary of strengths and identify those that are positively contributing to achievement. And one says that, you know, the teaming time is a smartphone. Do you understand why I'm having trouble with this?
Once again, you should have seen the principals putting all this stuff in.
And it says here, math scores have been below expectations since 2020. That's true. And then principal attendance in team meetings is affected by school issues. That's true, and I understand that. And then didn't they talk about instruction in writing written responses? Do you remember they were talked about the written responses? And they say that there's, like you're not teaching it, it's true that it's limited, explicit instruction. Remember that was an issue with the testing that they did.
Still is.
It still is?
In my opinion, it still is, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then it says, analyzing the priority challenges. We often meet the goal, but we don't make a year's growth. Over time, this means we are falling behind. And then it says a writing plan needs to be developed and implemented. So are they talking about that thing we mentioned before?
Yes,
That written
it is one of the
response?
things we talked about at the
That written
Personnel
response,
Policy
yeah.
Academics Committee.
Okay. Well, I struggled through I read every one of these reports in detail multiple times, and can you understand, to me, some of it was confusing? The true, false,
Yeah, once again, that's the state system.
what?
That's
It's
the state system we're required to work in.
I had some trouble with it because in some ways they were questioning what was positive, in some ways they were questioning what was negative, but then you got a true and a false that didn't correlate with that statement. So anyhow, thank you very much for answering those questions.
All right, on to the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Next section is finance.
Monthly financial reports. The board is asked to approve the following monthly financial reports, all attached. Number 1, treasurer's report. Number 2, general fund board summary report. Number 3, fund accounting, capital fund, capital GISA, and food service check summary listing.
So do.
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. On this page, Pam, it talks about there's 4 categories: general fund, capital fund, cafeteria fund, and fiduciary funds. Okay, the fiduciary funds, 4 of them are for student activity, and 2 of them are for travel, and the ending balance is $10,178,175. Is that how much we have in student activity funds? And are we paying? It doesn't look like we pay that much for.
No, the fiduciary funds, if you're looking at the one that is dated for June 2025, that is $142,000 beginning bank balance, $138,857.93 ending bank balance. The Nell Lynch is not so much travel.
Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? It says
What
report
page are you on?
May 2025 cash.
Oh, you're looking at the May one? I put 2 in this.
Well, it came with my agenda. That's why I'm looking at it. But that 4th category, fiduciary funds, how would you define a fiduciary fund?
A fiduciary fund is something that the district sort
You
of
take care of, right?
oversees.
Yeah, okay.
Well, they oversee. It's the student activity funds.
Yeah, okay, so 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, that's that last section.
Yes.
It started out, a beginning bank's billion of $15,245,197. That's for student activity and 2 travel places. I just was surprised that it was $15 million for student activity.
No, the beginning bank balance, the 15 million, is all of the funds together. That is the general fund, the capital fund, the cafeteria fund, and the fiduciary funds. The beginning bank balance in the May report that you're looking at was $178,000.
Okay.
The ending balance was $141,000.
$141,000 in student activities,
Yes,
and that is for 4 buildings?
correct.
That includes those 2.
Okay.
The Nell Lynch, yes.
So the capital fund, FAM, that shows that great big deficit of 5 million. Can you explain that? Tell me what capital fund, I have down here CDs.
Okay, capital funds, basically, we started at, those were the CDs, and then they were transferred into the general fund checking, into the capital fund checking, I'm sorry, and the money market accounts.
No, I see what you're doing.
Okay, so basically, those, you can see the amounts of money that initially, like the 4-month one, we had earned $11,000 in interest. The $500,000, we earned $9,000 in interest, and the $2,754,000, we earned $64,000 in interest. Once those matured, we deposited those into our general fund, or I'm sorry, capital fund money market accounts and capital fund checking accounts. So basically, what is left now in the capital fund checking account for that fund was sorry, my computer just went dark there for a moment, was $2,400. And in the money market account was $385,000. Those are the funds that we're paying for the turf and for the rock wall.
Because you've said several times, didn't you pay for a van out of that or something?
Not out of capital funds,
Okay.
no.
Now, again, I'm confused. If you have a number that has a parenthesis on it,
Correct.
is that a deficit?
That is a credit.
Credit, that means we're ahead.
But it has a parenthesis around it.
Right, that means that it's a credit. So initially, we started out whenever we had all of the funds. With the CDs, we had $5,750,000.
Yeah, right.
Okay, from that,
and you spent 5,362,
yes.
547.
So when you look at the June report that I did, because the CDs have been long since invested, matured, entered into the accounts. So when you look at the June accounts, I merely took those out because those were taken care of I believe, the prior fiscal year. So that's why there's a variance there. And I in the June report, you will see that I combined the capital fund checking, capital fund money market with the capital fund GISA and money market accounts.
So that's the amount you spent with a parenthesis around it.
Correct.
What?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, that's the amount that was
Okay.
invested and then reinvested.
Okay, now, the first one, Pam, you started with 7,925,000, so forth. Now you have a figure in the end, 1,373,200 with no parentheses. So what does that mean? If there's no parentheses.
Are you looking at the cafeteria fund?
No, general fund. I'm just trying to figure this out. General fund, you start with 7,000,009 and then change in balance.
What the final report is basically a change in balances. That's what that column is for.
The change in balance.
Correct.
So that's what you have left?
No, what you have left is the ending is column number 6, which is the ending reconciled balance.
That's what you have left?
Correct.
So you have more left than you began with. And those two numbers would equal that ending recommended balance.
I'm confused as to what you're looking at.
I think I see that, because if you take the beginning bank balance and look at the change, that ends up being your ending reconciled balance.
Yes, and
Just doing that in my head, and I think that's
right. And some of the accounts are interest bearing. So if we're not spending money out of them, then yes, at the end of the month, it's going to be a higher amount because we have earned interest. Like, for example, I can tell you the money market GISA account, since it has been open, we have earned $80,000 in interest. So that's why you're going to see higher amounts on those reports. For example, in June, if you look at June, the Giza money market account had $11 million. You see the $41,323.85?
I see that.
That is interest for that month.
I mean,
That's-
I have personal accounts where I make more interest than I'm spending, so I understand that. I'm just confused how this is presented. Maybe I'm the only one. I'm probably the only one. I have trouble.
Well, like I said, I think what you're focusing on is the change in balances. What you want to look at is your basic beginning balance and then your ending reconciled balance. And that's where our total funds are.
It's really our whole budget pretty much, isn't it? All of our funds? Well, no, not salaries and that.
No.
Salaries. But it says the general fund, the capital fund, the cafeteria fund, and the
Right.
fiduciary fund.
Correct.
Those four are what this represents.
Correct. Those are cash balances, not the budget per se. That's cash balances.
Okay. Any other comments? On to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Last section is closing exercise. I'm sorry, we have two other ones with no items for the month. Building ground security? No items for the month.
No items. Thank you.
And athletics activities, no items for the month.
Thank you.
All right, last section is closing exercises.
Citizens' comments. Anybody in the audience may approach the microphone now if you have comments. I see none. Okay. I need a motion to
Make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Need a second?
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
They didn't do citizens' comments?
Pardon?
Nobody has comments.